In this documentary, we want to put focus on whether young people's social status depend on their economical span. Eldine, why do you think the young generation depend on spare time jobs?
Well, I think that they need some money for their own consumption. For instance, they need money if they want some new clothes, if they think that something is really beautiful, and they also need it if they want to pay for their own phone bills. They have a huge spend on phones and just to have contact with their friends. And a big percentage of this generation has to pay for staying at home, so they have to pay rent for actually staying with their parents. They do as well depend on spare time jobs, just to feel that they have the right to just spend the money because they own it themselves, and they just want to spend it without thinking about the consequences. Yeah, and I actually have an example of a budget of a really ordinary teenager, and as you see here, she earns 3,000 kroners per month. And we see that she spends it on food and clothes, parties, other social activities, and of course for transport, and she ends up saving a bit. So we see here that she spends about 600 kroners for food, and 800 for clothes, and for parties and other social activities she spends 450 for parties, and 700 for other social activities, and for the transport, which is really important for the age she's in. So she's spending about 250 kroners on that, and she ends up saving about 200 per month. So we can really conclude that she spends pretty much most of her earning of those 3,000 kroners on social activities and parties, and that is of course something you do accompanied by your friends. So that is just like confirming our thoughts. If you just imagine that she has a spare time job, then she would probably have about 500 kroners to spend. Those 500 kroners given by her parents, and that will make her afford maybe some food a little bit, and yeah, something more important, the transport to get home from school and get to school. And then there's probably nothing back, maybe a little bit saving for some special events or something that means really much to her, and then it's done. And yeah, that's the difference between having a spare time job and not having it, and what it means for her and her friendships and her social status. She would probably rather stay home with that.
Yeah, I work because I want to have my own money. It's like I don't want to be concerned on my parents' affordings. I want to spend my money on whatever I like and whatever I want to do. For instance, when I'm going out to the cinema or to shopping with my friends, it's like I don't want to be dependent on what my parents are willing to give me or something like that. I just want to be free and yes, do whatever I want to do.
To answer our second question, I'll ask you, Cecilie, why do you think the young generation depend on spare time jobs? Do you think they would be able to spend time with their current friends if they had no job?
No, I don't think they would.
Why don't you think they would?
Well, money is that thing that makes it possible to do anything you want with your friends. You can go to eat dinner, to go to a movie, go shopping, and just hang out if you want to. If you imagine your friends were asking you if you wanted to come to a movie, for example, and you had to say no, and that happened several times, you would get quite sad, I think, because you weren't able to spend time with them, and they would develop a stronger bond to each other because they'd spend so much time together, and you'd probably start to feel outside the group. And I don't think that you would make it in the long run. That maybe you'd start looking for some new friends you could hang out with more.
Do you think you would be able to spend time with your current friends if you did not have the money you have now?
I don't think it would affect my relationship to my friends if I didn't have a job. They would know I weren't capable of doing the same things they do, and I believe they would respect it, and we would somehow find a solution so we all could spend time together. And that's what I would do if I had a friend without a job.
And now it's time for a big conclusion. From the answers to our questions, we can conclude that young people's social status does depend on their economical span. Young people spend much money on socialization, and if you don't have money, you'll feel outside because your friends will spend a lot of time together without you and make a strong bond to each other. For example, for a shopping spree or for going to the movies or a party. And if you don't go to parties, you won't meet new people and you won't be able to expand your circle of friends. So young people's social status depend on their economical span.